From tell-all interviews to lies and being heard across the world, the last 10 years had been, for lack of a better word, stressful for the late Queen Elizabeth, with Harry and Meghan's relationship being one of huge controversy, and it doesn't seem like Meghan wants to back down. Meghan's willingness to expose Harry's family alliance with Diana's strong will. The married couple are on a mission to expose the royal family, and honestly, we are living for the drama. The story of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle is one we all think we know because of how they've led us into their story. The tale of the Hollywood starlet who fell in love with the second son of the king. Who remembers when the couple first announced their relationship in 2016? Then, of course, the very public ceremony viewed by 1.9 billion people worldwide in 2018. Although the couple had originally intended to carry out royal duties and remain in London, after being hounded by the press for years, they decided to step back from the royal family and move to California. But it seems the couple still wanted to be in the limelight. First off, there was an in-depth interview with Oprah Winfrey about their experience. If you're one of the very few that didn't catch it, as the press published racist and hateful stories about Meghan, the couple explained that they hadn't been supported by the royal family. It's not the ideal relationship you'd want with your in-laws. Now, they're starring in a new Netflix series about their experience, and it's a binge-worthy watch. The docuseries draws from both private photos and videos as well as interviews to explore the darker side of being a British royal, including what really went on behind the scenes. Needless to say, emotions ran high. Let's relive the most emotional moments from Harry and Meghan as told by Netflix. In one moment that caused more than a single tear, Harry reminisced about his holidays, which were filled with invasive paparazzi. From the earliest days, Prince Harry learned the hard way that there was no escaping the British tabloids. Even as a child, he was forced to either ignore or pose for the paparazzi. H, or Has as Meghan calls him, says, "The paparazzi used to harass us so much that we had to be forced into smiling and answering questions for the traveling press pack, and that made me feel really uncomfortable right from the start." Harry and his few royals are then seen to be posing for the press during a ski holiday, a far cry from what most kids would want to be doing. We saw the People's Princess Diana, Harry's mother, as she talked to the paparazzi and tried to convince them to give her children more space on their vacation. It was truly awful to see the impact that the paparazzi had on Harry's childhood. It seems like they were always there, watching and waiting. Another emotion-filled moment occurred when Harry spoke about his mother's death. Admit it, you had to reach for tissues. As we know, Harry's life was filled with tragedy when his mother, Princess Diana, died in a car crash while being pursued by paparazzi in Paris. As Harry explained, after they separated, the harassment went to new levels.
How ironic. Diana's public life began and ended the same way, with the paparazzi in pursuit.
Suddenly, she was left to fend for herself against the merciless British press. While members of the royal family were guarded by security, those outside of it were on their own. Sadly, after the death of his mother, Harry and his brother Prince William were suddenly catapulted into an even more intense spotlight. Then, we see a clip of Harry walking behind Diana's funeral procession, and it's a heartbreaking watch. It was heartbreaking to see how young William and Harry were hounded by the press, just as their mother had been given no room to grieve. And how about Meghan's dealing with the press? In the second episode, Meghan spoke about the racism her mother and she have faced. Meghan explained that she had to confront racism from a young age, as she experienced it firsthand while still in school. One day, a woman called her mother the N-word, but she was not prepared for the racism of the British tabloids when her relationship with Prince Harry was announced. Harry said he was unprepared for the onslaught of attention. Within that first week that it became public knowledge, the story was Harry's new girl is almost straight out of Compton. When the British press began printing racist headlines about Meghan, the couple was powerless to do anything but say nothing. Is this why we got a Netflix show? Harry explained that most of the family saw Meghan's situation as rite of passage that everyone in the royals' family circle went through, but they didn't understand the racial element. Despite their vastly different childhoods, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle share a common theme: divorce. When Meghan and Harry spoke about being children of divorce, we got another emotional moment.
We fled my home country, we moved to California, and for 12 months during lockdown, where we said literally nothing, it was relentless.
The film revealed that the impact of their parents' separation was huge on both of them. When Meghan recounted a poem she wrote for a school assignment, things got particularly emotional. Here's a snippet. 2 houses, 2 homes, 2 kitchens, 2 phones, 2 couches where I lay, 2 places that I stay. Moving, here and there, from Monday to Friday, I'm everywhere. The tear-jerking line, life would be easier if there were 2 of me. Meghan Markle's story is particularly tragic, not just because she was thrust into the spotlight, but also because her life was basically perfect before becoming a royal.
Really ashamed to say it at the time, and ashamed to have to admit it to Harry especially, because I know how much loss he's suffered.
Enter emotional moment number. We've lost track. Firstly, hands up if you've ever heard of The Tig, the growing online business Meghan had. Along with a close circle of friends, a vibrant acting career and budding career as an activist and writer. Though Meghan enjoyed a successful acting career, she was never threatened or imposed upon. She appeared to live a happy and normal life. Her ex-personal assistant, Chantal Humphries, shared she had a beautiful life before everything exploded. Looking back, it's definitely painful to see what Meghan lost by marrying into the royal family, proving that not all the moments in Netflix's Meghan and Harry are sad. The early moments between the royals seemed to be utterly joyful. In fact, it was like a scene from a rom-com. It's hard not to get choked up when the couple recounted the moment Harry got down on one knee. After all, it seemed like something out of a fairy tale, low-key and ever so romantic. Even more tragic is watching the proposal, knowing what happened to the couple next. In episode 3 of Netflix's Harry and Meghan, the royal couple shared their thoughts about the toxicity of the relationship between the British press and the royal family. It was an emotional experience to say the least. As they put it, there is an invisible contract between the 2 institutions that relies on the royals performing for the press, so that the press gets the content it needs and the royals get the publicity they need. When it came to Harry and Meghan, the contract was a royal pain. As Archwell director James Holt said, "You have to perform for the press or they'll publish horrible things about you." The documentary shows how desperate the press was to publish anything about the princess-to-be, and it's hard to watch. Royal wedding fever was at its peak when Prince Harry proposed to Meghan Markle, yet as the date of their nuptials drew nearer, tabloids grew more desperate for stories, so they started contacting Markle's friends and family. Although the majority of Meghan's friends and family refused to comment, a few of them were tempted by the lucrative payoffs offered by the press. Meghan's half-sister Samantha, who is 17 years older than Meghan, was one of those people. Samantha had been quoted saying that she had raised Meghan for 12 years, and that she now called her Princess Pushy. For Meghan, seeing Samantha supposedly selling these fabrications to the press was devastating. "I wanted a sister," she said sadly. Were you surprised by the sellouts? We certainly weren't. And those were the most emotional moments from the series. If you haven't already seen it, be sure to head to Netflix and give it a watch. It's great and believingly honest insight.